Are we ready yet, Katie? Or
Not yet, just another minute. Okay, you're live.
okay, all right. Thank you. Ready yet, Katie? Or
You are ready.
okay. All right. Good evening. This is the July 20th, 2022 meeting of the Southborough Zoning Board of Appeals. Before we get started, I do need to read the notice. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16th, 2021. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance by members of the public will be permitted. Those wishing to participate can do so by accessing the meeting link at www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. So, and we have Mike. Congratulations, Mike. Okay, very good. Okay, before we begin, I want to ask Doris to sit on the board for this particular hearing before we get started as an alternate. Well, to be a voting member on this for this hearing. You're on mute, Doris.
I certainly am. That's fine. I can sit and vote.
Okay.
Wouldn't Jamie also? Therefore, you would have 5.
Oh, you have to recuse yourself.
I'm recusing myself from the
Bin
hearing.
Yep. Okay. Good point. Thank you. Jamie, I'm going to ask you to also sit on the board for this hearing.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Craig. Okay. So, Craig, you will recuse yourself, and Katie, you have the hearing notice to read.
Yeah, actually, David, I'll just explain. I have done work in the past for the VinBin, and would feel that though I feel I could be fair and impartial, the appearance of any potential conflict is enough for me to recuse myself.
Okay. Appreciate it, Craig.
So I will read the public hearing notice into the record. The Board of Appeals of the Town of Southborough will hold a public hearing via a virtual Zoom meeting Wednesday, July 20th at 7 p.m. regarding the petition of Michael Lombardi, the VinBin/donut stand, 154 Turnpike Road, Southborough, Mass. The petitioner is seeking a special permit to add secondary signage to the existing building in the Business Highway District. Relief is requested under section 174(11)(E1).
Thank you. And do we have somebody to do any sort of presentation for the donut stand, VinBin?
Yep, I see Michael Lombardi. You want me to pull him over?
Yep.
And Jack Bartolini. Is he part of that? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. He's just watching. Very good.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi.
We can hear you, but can't see you.
Okay, let me see if I can. I'm not really sure how to use the video. Oh, there we are. Okay.
There you are.
Hi,
Very
thank
good.
you for taking your time out today to address this. I appreciate it. Yeah, the donut stand is just a subtenant of the VinBin. The VinBin is my family's business, and we created a little specialty donut shop outside of it during COVID to help bring in more business, and it's taken off and becoming a little bigger and helping us out immensely with the VinBin and just bringing in traffic in general. So we wanted to put our logo on the building as well, next to the Vin Bin and Cafe sign, just for a little more exposure. And so people know where they're going and what the donut stand is. And yeah, so that's why we're here tonight.
Thank you. Michael, Mr. Lombardi, do you have anything to present visually for the board to review, or is it really just a discussion from your perspective?
I had submitted the application and the specifications of the sign and recommendation from the planning board, as well as approval from our landlord.
Right.
I don't know how to visually show you all of that.
Okay. I'm just, giving you the opportunity, really, if you will. Oftentimes, that's what happens is people have something to present. I would agree that this is not something that necessarily, calls out for, a lengthy presentation. Katie, do you have the memo from Karina from the planning board? Because what needs to happen in this particular case, there's 5 questions that the planning board vote on in regards to your application for a special permit for this sign. And we have we have it recorded here. Do you have that, Katie, or should I just, I have it up in front of me, but.
Yep. Did you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, if you could.
Okay. Sure. Hold on. That'll just take a minute.
Sure. The 5 questions are, the first one is that the sign scale is reasonable relative to development scale, viewer distance and travel speed, and sign sizes on nearby structures. Second question is that the sign size, shape, and placement serve to define or enhance architectural elements of the building. 3, the sign design is in harmony with other signage. 4, the sign materials, colors, lettering style, illumination, and form are reasonably compatible with building design. And then the sign size, location, design, and illumination are not judged to present a safety hazard. So, and we do have how the board voted on each one of those questions. Very good. Thank you, Kate. So can everybody see that all right? So we can see that the first issue, is it in reasonable scale relative to development scale, distance, travel speed? The votes were 5 in favor, 0 against. For the second question, sign size, shape, and placement serve to define or enhance architectural elements of the building, such as columns, sill lines, cornices, and roof edges, and do not unreasonably interrupt, obscure, or hide them. The vote was 4 in favor, 0 against, with just Mr. Mills abstaining. Question 3, the sign design is in harmony with other signage on the same or adjacent structures and provides reasonable continuity in mounting location and height, proportions, and materials. The vote again was 5 in favor, 0 against. Fourth question regarding the sign materials, colors, lettering style, illumination, and form are reasonably compatible with building designs, neighborhood context, and use. Again, 5 in favor, 0 against. And lastly, the sign size, location, design, and illumination are not judged to present a safety hazard to vehicular or pedestrian traffic. And that was voted again, 5 in favor, 0 against. Notes and conditions, 0. So no issue with the planning board, clearly. All right. Is there anybody who wishes to speak to this in the audience, Katie, that you're aware of? Butters, or I mean, it's in a pretty much a business development zone, so I'm not anticipating, but okay, there's nothing?
No.
Okay,
Nobody.
all right. Well, let's, in turn, I don't know if any members have any questions. Doris, do you have any questions regarding the special permit?
No, I don't have any questions regarding this.
Okay. Mike, do you have any questions?
No, I have no questions. I read through the planning board's deliberations on this, and I think it fits in with respect to other businesses. I think I have no questions on it.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Paul, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. I mean, the only question, if there was opposition from like public safety, other tenants, landlord, but it doesn't seem to be the case. So I certainly have no questions.
Okay, great, thank you. Jamie, anything you'd like to ask?
Nope, I have no questions or problems.
Okay. Yeah, and similarly, I think especially seeing the details that were presented in the packet and the vote of the planning board, I would agree, it seems fairly straightforward to me. So if there are no further questions, then we could entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second.
Okay, all right, we have a motion to close and a second. All in favor, respond with aye. Doris,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
and Williams, aye. All right, that won the public sector of the meeting. And again, since we don't really have any questions, I don't know that we have much to deliberate on here. If not, then we can continue straight into a vote on the application for the special permit. If somebody wants to make a motion, sorry.
Sure, I'll make a motion to accept the request as proposed, or however you want it.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the special permit as applied with a second. All in favor of approval of the special permit, respond with aye. Doris,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
and Williams is aye as well. So congratulations, your special permit is approved. That's pretty much it. I don't know if you have any
Thank you very
questions.
much. I appreciate it. I thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you for your time.
Congratulations, Mike.
Thank you. Have a good night, guys.
See ya.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, that was good. The second item we have on the agenda is approval of meeting minutes dated June 15th, 2022. During said meeting, there wasn't, if I remember this correctly, all we did is approve meeting minutes from the meeting before that. I did take a look at them earlier and I didn't really see anything of note that we needed to review here. Does anybody else have any concerns with the meeting minutes from that night?
Nope.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I have no issues with it. Okay.
Move to approve the meeting minutes as written.
I'll second that.
Okay. Movement to approve the meeting minutes as written with the second. All in favor, respond with aye. Doris,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
Jamie, you were absent.
I
so-
was absent, so yeah, so I can approve those.
Right, so Williams is aye as well. Okay. Very good. if I'm not mistaken, we're at a point, and I know it's not on the agenda, but we're at a point where we're supposed to appoint a chairman and a clerk. Isn't that correct?
Actually, yeah, this
Yes.
would be the meeting.
My gosh, another year goes by.
Another year goes by. So, I mean, if it's all right to have that discussion now, I know we do have something on the agenda to talk about definitions, but I thought it would be good to kind of take care of this to begin with. I'm willing to do it again, but if somebody has a burning desire to be chairman, I will not stand in anybody's way. Looking at you.
I'll make a
Mike?
motion to. I'll make a motion to keep the chairman and the clerk.
Oh,
As it is.
second.
Can we do two at once, or do we have to do them individually?
No, let's do two at once.
Okay, we can write those rules that way. Okay, Craig, any problems with that from your
I
perspective?
don't have a problem. Thank you.
Okay,
Mhm.
and so we have a motion and a second, correct?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All in favor of keeping the board in similar format with Williams chair and Nicholson clerk, respond with aye. Doris?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Mike?
Aye.
Jamie?
Aye.
Greg?
Aye.
Williams? Aye. Okay. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
both. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, let's hope that doesn't become a day I come to regret, but I don't think so. Okay, thank you. So we did talk about, and I know I will get it wrong, so maybe I'd rather somebody else bring it up, but it was about accessory go ahead. Craig, I can
Accessory
see your
dwelling units,
Dwelling units, there we go.
ADU.
ADU. And Doris, this was kind of your concern, wasn't it, to have a
Yeah,
discussion
you know,
about?
I'm not having a concern exactly. I was just spending a little bit of spare time on it, and
Okay,
I just thought maybe we'd open it up for discussion, maybe the plan, maybe not send something over to the planning board. There's a couple of definitions that I wanted to talk about, or I didn't see.
okay,
But I had seen some experience with these definitions, and mostly from a modernization perspective. Are we covering it? That's kind of where I'm coming from. And then more of an open discussion point on percentages. I don't have the history with the town, but we can
right,
get to the second. But I just have the history of the town of why we're benchmarking certain figures on accessory dwelling units from 1979. It's just a general question. And is someone really tracking that? Which is,
okay.
we read through that piece. So I don't want to take a lot of people's time tonight, but maybe it's worthwhile to talk about it. I think we agreed on that last week. It was worth discussing it amongst ourselves, basically.
So, sorry, I just, is there something in the definition or the way we manage the dwelling units, accessory dwelling units, that you think need some review?
Katie, could you
with the
bring up
plan?
that slide? I have it on my desk. It's in the packet.
Is it that last one about shall not exceed 5%? Is that what you were saying?
Well, actually, Katie, if you could bring up the slide packet. It's not that formal, but it'll keep you on track.
Oh, I think, was it the very end there? Yeah, where you said, oh.
Yeah, that's at the end, but
yeah.
if we could start at the top,
Yep.
so I'm not jumping around.
Do
Just
you
wait
have
for-
that to share, Katie? Okay.
Yeah, she does.
Of course she does.
Of course you do. If you could slide up, there's a page above that, I think. Down. Or
Yeah,
maybe it's
that,
not.
you
Yes.
actually started in the right place, I'd say.
Did she?
Yeah, she did.
Okay, oop, that's not it. That's our meeting notes. Okay, right there. Whoop, you slid by.
Just a little higher, yeah.
A little
'Cause you-
higher.
Yeah, inconsistency in percentage, is that what you're talking about?
No, I wanted to, there's a
Oh, higher. Okay.
definite, just two definitions, making sure. Okay. Okay, so discuss a definition of accessory apartment. It's not necessarily discussing it, discussing, I don't see us addressing, Airbnb. I think it should it? Or it falls, I guess, under the fact that multiple people can live in a single dwelling unit. It's not really it's not really a bed and breakfast, it's not really a hotel, is it? And
No.
group home, in a group home, should we be looking to put some definition on that? I don't
So
even know, that's all I'm talking about. I don't even know if we have Airbnbs in the town. I guess I could easily find
Yes.
that out.
I was gonna say, I don't think this is I mean, no offense to our fair town that we all love to call home. I don't think we're the high destination for Airbnb usage.
Yeah,
Maybe graduations at St. Mark's, or
right.
I
Yeah.
certainly think that there's a nexus there at some point. But
I mean, usually when municipalities start addressing things about Airbnb, it's because of homes and apartments and whatnot start getting used for that, as opposed to being available for general habitation.
Right.
yep, I hear
You
you.
know, this is, I don't, you know, we may have a number of people in town that live here regularly, but, you know, decamp around the time that St. Mark's graduation is happening because they know they can do it. And it's like a little bit of time each year, and they go on vacation, you know, places like, you know, where the Masters is held. People do that all the time. They just leave, they rent out their houses because the Masters is there in Georgia. And, you know, that's
Yeah.
really not depleting the stock of housing available for people to live here. So unless we really are seeing an issue about that, I'm not sure we need to implement anything to
Well,
curtail the use of Airbnbs for people.
is it just simply a matter of asking that question of the planning board? Because, you know, that's their authority, really.
Yeah.
I don't think what you're saying is wrong,
Yeah,
Greg.
I'm not even coming from that direction. I'm just trying to, I'm not coming from that direction at all.
Okay.
Just it's not defined. It's more futuristic. I don't know what things are gonna be in 5 or 10 years. Maybe we're the hot spot, maybe we are the master zone, but it's more of placing a definition on it. It's not listed. It's definitely a different kind of dwelling arrangement. That's where I'm coming from. All those points you're saying, Greg, and yeah, right on. I agree. But it's whether or not it's something we want to define.
Well, I mean, unless the residence or the building itself is used for that constantly, I don't think it is a different use. You know, I can let someone stay at my place for a week if I'm going to be out of town and house sit and, you know, whatever. I don't think that's, yes, there's an economic aspect, and maybe the select board wants to address taxing Airbnb usage as they would a hotel. But it's more of a taxation thing, I think, than really a zoning thing at this point.
I'd be curious how other municipalities deal with that, if they address it in zoning. I
They do.
agree with what you're saying. I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing to them to consider. What would you do? And maybe it's something that's a very, very loose, you know, relatively loose definition. If really it is more of the scale that you're talking about, Craig, I mean, I think you could, I'm sure they could write something that doesn't limit people from doing like what you just described.
Yeah.
It's just not in there. That's all. So that's something. So that's something planning board wants to look at. I don't know if there ever would be a misuse. I don't know that, but it doesn't fit quite with any of the current definitions. That's my only point.
Yeah.
Kind of a different kind of it's a definition. There's a lot of lists of the definitions of what's considered dwelling. And that is too, that's just not there.
All right, I mean, I don't see a problem in asking the planning board that question. Is addressing Airbnb ever considered?
And I'm not even thinking taxes at all, but that's a thought.
No.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not thinking taxes. I'm thinking, I don't know what the use could be, but it's not in the list. I mean,
Right,
you don't
right.
know.
But
So
yeah,
that's
I
where I'm
think-
coming from. Is when you don't know, you have the problem. If there
Yeah.
was a problem, someone come up with something creative. Okay. Does anybody have other comments on that? That's my only comment on it, David. And then I could go to the next one. Again, I don't want to labor over it. We're not deciding whether it's going in
Okay.
the zoning code.
Sure.
Group home definition, it's not in the list. I have had a little bit of experience where it doesn't have to be in the list, I guess. But there's some interesting uses. Maybe Mike has some thoughts on it. I have a sense of what a group home is. So an example where it goes a little unusual to a residential neighborhood if a group home is in a residential neighborhood. And I don't even know if Southborough is having group home situations here in town. So you could have non-related people living in a home, that's correct.
Right.
I can give an example. Group home comes in and could be a home for elderly, it could be a home for disabled, but they will need specialized services typically. And you could have round-the-clock care, almost like a mini assisted small facility. So you could have 3 occupants, maybe 4 occupants, but round-the-clock care with multiple vehicles and services coming in and out all day in a residential neighborhood.
Right.
So that's where that thought was good, just not in the list. I could see it being an issue at some point with the various shortages of institutions, hospitals, assisted, various self-solutions to caring for different types of people.
Right.
Yeah, so I've seen that come to use to be problematic to residential neighborhoods, not problematic to some residential neighborhoods.
Okay. I mean, I guess I would consider that's potentially something where you, again, maybe you're better off to be prepared for it than when somebody comes to town and you're not sure how to address it. I mean, I don't know. So as far as you can tell, it's not addressed anywhere in the zoning code.
Well, what I'm saying is and I probably should have been more specific too, because we're not changing zoning code. There's a list of definitions not in there.
Okay.
You'll say that's where I'm going with these 2 items.
I think that sounds like it potentially could become more of an issue than the Airbnb in Southborough.
100%.
Well, someone could be
That's it.
profiting. Now, just to kind of take it step, so if someone comes into a residential neighborhood, it's the owner's not living there. And often the owner, it could actually be an investment group and puts those in different neighborhoods to kind of take it a step further. Airbnb, I can never say no. That's where I am with the Airbnb. You just don't know where a housing situation's gonna be. And you can't say no. You'd be surprised.
Okay.
I know you're all surprised. Okay.
Okay. And you have some other items there that you.
Yeah,
wanted
this was
to
this was actually just straight code. I don't know what the thinking was. There's a line item on accessory apartment space for the historical district. Is someone just shed light to me? Why is that 25% for everybody else, but 35%, I think it is, for the historical district? Why?
I don't have it.
The limit, and there's a limit, which the historical district doesn't have, is 5%. It's written in there that they don't have to benchmark their accessory dwelling units against a 1979 5% of total living units in this town of Southborough. You can't exceed 5% of accessory dwelling units of the since 1979. So say we have 1,000 dwelling units, 50 can only be accessory. I don't know if why is that in there? That just, who's counting that? And it's inconsistent, so there's 2 points. It's inconsistent, and is someone mandating that? And why the difference? Why is the historical space get 35% of those houses? I have a whole problem when it comes to percentages because time moves, changes move. That's just a personal opinion. But why? Is that some magic number? Is someone counting that? So if you put an accessory apartment in my home, for instance, and I had to get a special permit for it, it can only be 25% of my existing home. And then, but if I was historical district, it would be 35%. So that adds more.
I would think maybe part of that is a historical district has less floor space and therefore 35% is more reasonable. I mean, other than that, I'm all doing is hazarding a guess. I don't know if anybody on the board has any idea about that.
Yeah. I thought about that too, David. 35%. If you have a big home, you get a bigger accessory apartment.
True.
Right. I could figure that out, but the square footage, unless it's an additional unit, but I think that still applies. But I guess it's just a question. It's not.
Does anybody have any thoughts on
I know Westboro. I know Westboro has recently updated their accessory dwelling units. I can get that and forward that over to the group. It's much more permissive, and I really feel like this is Doris really hit on an important subject. I think the housing stock is, again, this isn't earth-shattering news. There's a real shortage of affordable housing stock, and I think a lot of families would like to, have accessory dwelling units within their homes. And I'm always a big property rights guy. It's my house. If I want to choose to carve out a space for an accessory dwelling, I should be able to do so. And I find our, I think just the topic, whether it's Airbnb or accessory apartments, these are the things that I'd like for us to, if we can, spend a little bit of time updating our bylaws and having bylaws that are more consistent with modern trends instead of almost 50 years ago. And so I think it's something, whether it's a definition or trying to amend our bylaws to reflect accessory dwellings. And I think Westboro, like I said, has some really much better language. I'm happy to get that over and send it to the group.
Yeah, I'd agree with Mike. I mean, I think the need for housing is a crisis. It's a crisis in the state. It's a crisis in the city, many cities across the nation. We should open up the ability to do an ADU. It shouldn't just be for a relative family member. It should be for
absolutely
whatever. I mean, it's within the realms of all our other confined restrictions of setbacks and height and so forth. But I personally would be in favor of having accessory dwelling units be by right.
Absolutely.
If you have the space and want to do it, then great.
It's your home.
You know, I think we need in town more housing options
Absolutely.
than we have now. So I'd be all in favor of, you know, opening up accessory dwelling units. I would be in favor of figuring out a way to define group homes so that, although I don't see that happening a lot, but you know, to the point where it is much more feasible to do that where you need to. We're aging faster than anywhere else in Worcester County, and we don't have senior housing being developed anywhere. We have 55 plus townhouses that you can buy, but you know, that's not really
If you can
addressing
afford
the
it.
issue.
Right. So, but I mean, everything that we're talking about here are zoning code issues, which again is primarily with the planning board and would have to be voted on by the town.
Oh, certainly.
Are we looking for perhaps a request of the planning board to benchmark what other towns have in the same area, just to see, are we pretty far out of step? I mean, how do you determine that? Or how do you ask them to determine that?
I had done some research. It's pretty inconsistent across the state. We're it's still the majority, I think, statewide, but they could do some of that statewide. Towns don't offer it. Also, keep in mind that I have an agreement with Greg and Mike also, is that people do it anyways, and this would be better for health and safety to brush the code up and do the proper research. The way this is written is somewheres in my mind, poorly.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
It's
just it.
poorly, and I could come up with 10 reasons why 25% nor 35% really are workable. I could see why it could have happened that way, but it's not. Some houses can't even be divvied up to make an accessory department for that math to work because they're multi-floor. So if you made the downstairs, that's half the house. That's 50% of the house. So,
Okay.
yeah, so David, so something, a proper study, if they want to take it up to modernize, just really focused on accessory apartments.
Okay.
And defining doesn't necessarily mean defining is more adding a definition in
Right.
one part to encompass the future, which is, it's going to happen. Because I see it happening in other towns because of the housing crisis and the inability to put disabled, special needs, elderly in alternate affordable living conditions. Right.
I mean, that's certainly something that, again, we can take some of this information and raise it with the planning board to say, these are just things that were discussed, you know, what's your position on it, on increasing that percentage? Why is it where it is?
Well, I know.
Missing definitions.
Sorry, I know Andrew's been wanting to try to update some of our bylaws, and I think this is something that definitely needs to be approved by the town clearly. But at the same time, I think this is in our Herculean task to update and amend this. Whether it passes or not is a completely different kettle of fish.
Right.
But I think from a baseline, you know, housing is fundamentally different than it was from the 70s. It's just a world that we live in, and I think it behooves us to try to go forward on updating our bylaws.
I would agree. I guess I keep thinking about it within the confines of the zoning board of appeals. I think it's good discussion, but to carry it forward with any kind of action, you know, somebody, I would say, maybe it is Doris is the champion of it, but that's a debate, that's a discussion with the planning board. I don't know if there's more that they bring to the table regarding why they did what they did, or why we don't have Airbnb defined. But I mean, I think as we defined it here, this is simply a discussion for the zoning board. We have no authority.
Okay, so we
So,
don't have any.
Doris, what I think
We don't.
if I can, what I would do, Doris, is I would suggest reaching out to Andrew. Because this is something that he's been really focused on for some time. So I think your talking points are right on, and I'm really glad you raised it. I also am with David, there's not a lot we can do besides talk, where I think what the reality is, if we want to get some things changed, talk to Andrew. And then what we have to do is, we could get some language together that I could help on. And then, we put it up for warrant and a vote.
Okay, so would we think it's prudent? Because I tend to think it's prudent, not, should we get feedback? I think we should get feedback from planning board. And then I can get a hold of Andrew Dennington, or I think it's really
I would
important to
start, yeah, I
collaborate in order,
I
that's
would
all.
start with Andrew.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Andrew would be a good resource.
Because since his background is with zoning, I know he's wanted to try to amend some of the language. And so I think there's a couple different pressure points that we can hit on, but to me, accessory dwelling is one that really needs to get hit on. It's a crisis.
Yeah.
It needs to get addressed. Again, we want to have groundswell support because they've tried to update the zoning bylaws before. People spent monumental amounts of time only to watch it go down in flames at town meeting. So,
Correct.
Well, I just want to say, I agree with what you guys are saying about people should be able to use their homes for what they want. And I know there's a huge housing crisis across the country. But we also want to make sure we answer them on, how it affects taxes, not us necessarily, but the town. How it will impact potentially taxes and schools, and making sure there's no kind of slumlord issue where people try to get as many people in the house as possible that's legally available. That being said, I agree. I think people should be able to build accessory dwelling units without it don't having to go before a board or to get permission for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I think the concept that they're accessory to, just one other unit on the place, we're not really going to be looking at overcrowding. I mean, most people are
Right.
going to be doing this on properties that they live in. So
I agree. But I think those could be
I think it's
argued
a legitimate concern.
at town meeting. Like, those are things that people are going to bring up, I guess is.
I'm very
Yeah.
sorry, everyone. I have a new baby. If you didn't know, I'm a new foster parent.
oh, fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. I've got a little 3-month-old and he is losing his mind. Ben is with Ben, and we also have a totally different housing situation at the moment. So I have a little foster baby, and my wife's waving the white flag and red flag. So I got both flags from the wife.
Okay,
All right, well, Doris, I think the discussion here is good, but I think I would take from it that maybe you do want to follow up with Andrew on this, knowing that it's something that he has an interest in. And I don't know if that's what you're looking for, but I think I do feel like there's only so much we can do here other than discuss it and make a
right.
suggestion.
I feel like we're at the end of the discussion. If the
Okay.
opinion, I can certainly go to Andrew. I know how to get a hold of him.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing this up, because
Yeah,
we know it's a problem, and then typical fashion, for at least for me, is I know there's a problem, I'll deal with it when it comes up.
Right.
well, we're gonna definitely, I don't know if it's today, there's the two elements of it, but yeah, no, I'll do that. We can wrap up the
Okay.
meeting if it's, I do know Andrew, I've got a good rapport with him. I should be able to talk to him about it. If he thinks craft, that's just a different discussion, maybe with Andrew at a different time. Craft something that doesn't go down in flames at town meeting. Jamie alludes.
That is the challenge.
Oh, yeah. No, it's a challenge,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I
that's
agree.
why it's there. That is why it's there from 1979.
Serious
There it is.
enough, yes.
Yeah, okay.
All right, just because.
Well then,
Siege.
Okay.
Paul, are you up?
I'm ready.
Well,
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second.
oh, we have a second. We'll say the seconds, Mike. All right. We have a motion to adjourn and a second. All in favor, respond with aye. Doris,
Aye.
Mike,
Aye.
Craig,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and Williams, aye. Very good.
Okay.
Thanks,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Good night. Take care.
All right, guys, take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.